One way to create a warm and welcoming environment for ELL students is to make sure that you have materials in their language if possible. Within my classroom library, I try to have books in Spanish, in Hmong. I've got a couple in Somali, try to have as many languages that I can to represent what my students do. Another way is to just learn a couple of phrases in their language. For example, I know how to say "I don't know" in 5 languages. And when the kids tell me, "Teacher, I don't know," I can spit back at them in their language, and they love it. And it just shows that you care. Or even just a greeting, to be able to, when the kids come in, to say good morning in their language, it just puts them immediately at ease. And it also works really well for working with parents. At conference time, when a parent walks in and you can say hello to them in their native language, it really helps build that relationship because it lets them know that you care. Another important thing to create the welcoming environment is to understand that your students are still smart, they just don't have the English. And so to be really respectful of the intelligence that they do have and be patient with the language acquisition process. Speak slowly and honor the knowledge that they do have, even if it's not the knowledge that they necessarily need for school. One thing that I find also is extremely important in creating that welcoming environment is to know how to pronounce and how to say all of my students' names. That first day, I ask my students to say their names, and I repeat it back to them as many times as I need to ensure that I have the correct pronunciation of their names. There's so many students that it just drives me crazy when they come in and say, "Well, my name is Umulker, but you can call me Sally." And I know that some teacher must have said to her, "Umulker is too hard to say," or they got sick of adults or people not able to pronounce her name, so they pick an American name. If a child asks to be called that, you want to be respectful, but you also want to be respectful of their given names and try to learn how to pronounce their names and use their names. Throughout the year, I get new students, and it's important to make those new students feel as welcome as you can in the classroom. Usually I'm given about 1 or 2 days notice that a student will come, and I will first prepare the class. We'll tell the class that a new student will be coming in, and if we have a student who speaks the new student's language, I will tell them, for example, Jesus, we're having a new student coming in who speaks Spanish, and I will ask the student to be his buddy for the day or for the weeks to come. I will have Jesus first show the new student how to use his locker. The locker is a big anxiety level for middle school students. And I'll talk to the class about ways we can make new students feel welcome, showing them where their classes are, showing them the routines in the classroom, when to open their books, when to take out their notebooks, what the homework processes are. And we'll also talk about things like when they're in the cafeteria, how can they make someone feel welcome? By asking them to sit at their table. Also, it's important to understand that a new student will probably come to you, I call it deer in the headlights. They're so nervous and they're so scared and their eyes are just looking at you like, "Please don't ask me to talk. Please don't ask me to do anything." And just know that they're going to be nervous and just try to make them feel as comfortable as you can. And giving them that buddy that speaks their language is so important. Know that they're not only dealing with a new school, they're probably dealing with a new country, a new climate, a new culture, being in a new house. A lot of my students, some of their families are still in their old country. Or a lot of my students also are refugees and have seen traumas of war. So there could be a lot of issues going on. It's also important to try to connect with the family as soon as possible so that you can get some of that background knowledge to know if they've had school, if they haven't had school, if they were in war, if they weren't in war. It's important to know those things to help you make the student feel comfortable and welcomed in your class.